Hello, everybody. Um, Sorry if I'm sniffling a bit because the allergies are just kicking up all of a sudden. But today I wanted to do a video about bleach because I haven't made one of those in a while. And I think I'm going to skip over volume 4 because I don't remember if I included in the last video I did or not, but we got quite a lot of volumes to go through. 4 of them. So we'll start with volume 5. I saw some of it in the anime before I actually saw it in the manga form, and I don't know. Bleach has never been a good anime with music, anyways. I think some of the music fits really well, like the Fade to Black, and there's another one that when Ichigo first becomes the Soul Reaper again after that whole thing. So it's a sidestep that. I think Rukia is like by far my favorite character in this series, and the fact that she's kind of the center point eventually of this whole conflict um, is really emotionally impactful. At least it's like a character I care about. It's like the Ace with Marineford. At least it's a character that I like. And then we have this guy who used to be Quincy, and blanking on his name. By the way, this guy that ends up being Ichigo's trainer is very interesting. Same with these two kids. Like I don't know how powerful they are, but they seem pretty darn powerful even though they're just kids. Especially this dude, this buff dude. Rukia tries to kick him and she can't do anything. Although Rukia's in a body of, I don't remember the term they use, but she is in a much weaker body. Then it's always interesting whenever Kon has an interaction, because I always really like Kon. He's a pretty cool character. So yeah, they kind of take care of it. It's kind of interesting. I think it's a really well drawn thing when you see kind of slowly, the hollow coming through the sky. So that's pretty interesting. Um, we got more about Orihime. At first, I wasn't really digging Orihime, but there's more and more hints about her and Ichigo, and it's kind of different how she's kind of like a female harem, like a lot of other girls like her. And yeah, the hollows are getting a little bit like boring, so I'm glad that we're getting out of those. Um, his sword also looks so different than the one he gets by the end of these sets of volumes. So yeah, these two guys have their kind of conflict, and then this guy, it's like he kind of knew. Ichigo's trainer kind of knew ahead of time, like what was gonna happen. Um, but yeah, Rukia doesn't realize that her phone's been going off crazy. I guess he had hollow bait, and so these two guys get into it, and they're kind of like friendly. Ichigo and I can't remember this other guy's name. The two of them get into it, and they're very similar to kind of Naruto and Sasuke with that rivalry, I think, to a degree. At the end of the day, they're kind of like friends, even though, like, obviously Soul Reapers killed Quincy, but it's like, it goes back to that Luffy thing with his grandfather. It's like, look, whatever my grandfather did, it's like, well, whatever, like, that's what Luffy kept saying. It's like, you take it up with him, like, and that's the same kind of thing with Ichigo. It's like, look, I'm a Soul Reaper, but I didn't actually kill, your mentor or whatever, as he reveals in the later part of the volume. Chad has some time, and I was actually thought that was kind of cool. I guess he's part of this like group dynamic. He actually meets Ichigo's sister, younger sister, and we see a little bit of exposition on him. This is like one of the ugliest hollows ever. He's just, it's ugly to look at. But yeah, Chad actually does some damage and actually like hits it, and I don't know. It's pretty cool actually seeing Chad do things. I guess I don't really know how he has power, but I hope that it's a reason that makes sense. Because otherwise, like, that came out of nowhere. But yeah, his arm, it's a shield thing. Like, looks pretty darn cool. Like, and he just blows this dude. He just blows this hollow away. So yeah, pretty solid. Um, this hollow actually was doing pretty good damage. It has like these tentacles that can attack other people. I think that's a pretty unique hollow. I kind of like that one. But yet again, like, what is with this chick? I don't like at all. She's like too much into Orihime. It's just kind of weird. It's like, why don't you just make her move or shut up? Um, but yeah, then she was getting controlled, and all sorts of people were getting controlled by it. And then out of nowhere, like, Orihime actually starts. It's crazy. Now, this, when you see a person like this, again, and that's pretty much that volume, you do have to start going like, wow, okay, in my mind, I'm comparing her to other female, like, leads, or at least lead characters as in other series, and I'm like, man, like, Sakura was shafted badly, like, she was a terrible character, like, let's be honest, like, I don't, it didn't seem as much as a crappy character, you know, in her own universe, but then it's like, man, like, Kishimoto, like, you dropped the ball, like, or Hime, I mean, she's just barely doing something, but at least she's doing something, man. Like, hasn't been doing that much, but at least she's doing something. And Nico, Robin, Nami, they do a lot of stuff, man. Like, especially Whole Cake, you know. But like, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. I'm expecting them to do more, right? Even Wendy from Full Metal Alchemist did a lot more, right? Okay. And then we go to 6. And like I said, 6 has a lot to do with, you know, this kind of mentor. I thought this was such a crazy reaction with her and Khan, but it was pretty cool, nonetheless. And then yeah, like then this man actually, like this teacher actually starts talking to them about the different kinds of, like, I guess we called him by his last name, Kurosaki. Ichigo, basically his soul kind of like manifests and like creates different things, I guess. Like that's some crazy stuff. Then they start introducing way too many terms, like yo, I don't know if it's because I was also reading about Nen with Hunter x Hunter, but it was just a ridiculous amount of terms, like Zenpatu, and I'm like, okay, hold on, that's a sword, I guess. I don't know why it transforms, and then all of a sudden it's like some of the you know, I always see these like comments on things, on Bleach things, anime videos about Benkai, and I'm like, yo, what is that? I don't even want to know what that is, because right now it's like all of a sudden like there's like all these Soul Reaper terms, and I'm like, yo, stop, like just hold on, like Chakra was so easy to understand, you know, even if it was a little bit ridiculous after a while. But yeah, these guys, like, in the shop owners, they really have an idea of what's going on. So Orihime's powers are kind of like these little fairies that come out and kind of help her. And then there's Ryuta. Yeah, I don't know how to say his name. Ryue? Or Yua? I don't know. I heard his name pronounced right originally, but I haven't in a while. His reaction with Kon, though, is like classic. Cause it's like, you know, he's getting into this like heated thing, and then even like he even brings Ruki into it because he's like, oh yeah, I can tell her by her smell, and then she's like, I don't smell, and like this whole thing, like, and meanwhile he's like getting more and more annoyed, like the typical like Sasuke or, you know, like the other shonen rival kind of reaction. But I'm not really sure what his power is, but it looks like it's like straight up cutting off his fingers, so you know, we'll see the extent of what he can do there. But Ichigo is like straight up like showing his boss and stuff like that. It'd be interesting if they actually do fight, because I don't really. The Quincy's were another thing that came out of nowhere. I hope that gets addressed because that was too much. All those hollows look pretty cool. They're all like praying at one spot. And then when it does get revealed to what it is, yeah, he finds out that Soul Reapers were wiped out by the Quincy's, and he's like, okay, well, whatever, you know. Like, yet again, it's like, what does that have to do with me? You know, I don't know. The way Ruki is drawn with this, like, hair, I think it's pretty cool. It's like, there's not many characters that look like that. Then we find out that his mentor got killed indirectly by Soul Reapers. Like, extremely indirectly, like, just because they didn't save his ass, like, that's wise, man. It's like, is it really the Soul Reaper's job to do that? I like how he's like, yeah, you talk too much. So yeah, you know, I think being able to do a long range attack is kind of better than a sword attack, unless you can really cut away. See, yet again, like, she's like really powerful, so it's like really crazy, like the extent of like her power and stuff. And then this really big dude starts coming up, and like he is actually eating other hollows, like he is massive. And then like low key, like Ichigo tries to cut this dude, and like this giant hollow. Well, it is a dude. It's a previous dude, you know. And I like how his definition of what he's gonna do. He's just gonna keep cutting away at it till he gets to the top. That sounds so much like a Zoro thing. Like I just can't like. It's very hard to separate other series, from this. But yeah, all of a sudden, like his spirit pressure or whatever is so strong that like him just putting his sword on this guy's head just like increases the thing. And then he actually gets a good. It's kind of weird. I'm not really sure why he stopped doing that, but he did get a shot into its stomach, and then it starts coming at them. It uses this like crazy like laser thing, and I guess he was just like deflecting it or absorbing it. It's kind of a new power that a Hollow can do that I've seen. Not really sure how much Hollows are going to play a role in the series, but hopefully they're not super long. He completely like sliced this thing up. And, like it's like this like I don't know ancient Hollow that's been around forever, and yet he was able to cut it. So that was pretty significant. And then like even the faces he makes, like I don't know. To me, he reminds me so much of Zoro, but with more personality. If that makes any sense. And then he actually passes out from like so much exhaustion. So it is pretty interesting to see the extent of his powers. But this dude, like, he straight up passed out and stuff. Like he had it. Like I said, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Then they go back to school and all that. So I think I was feeling bad. Like, it was kind of like obvious. It was like the like this is such a Nico Robin thing, like from Water 7, when they all converse on her and they're like, oh yeah, like the CPU, like you can't tell me that that's not like spot on, like the same thing. Very similar. And this douchey guy like comes up, and like this guy is really weird. Renju, because it's like, what is the extent? Like he's nice to Rukia, but then he turns her in. It's like those dumbass police guys that are like, oh yeah, well even though you're family, or even though like I really like you, I'm gonna turn you in. And oh, and by the way, like you're not gonna get executed. It's like, really, I'm not gonna, like, come on. Like, you really are that dumb? And then they like randomly change their mind, like oh, I'm sorry. It's like, no, you don't get. You honestly should have just made the right decision from the first place. But it's kind of sad because Ruki actually looks up to like Ichigo as a friend, like, and to start with, that didn't seem like the case. But yeah, this dude's pretty powerful. Like, he's able to, and then her brother's like really powerful. But yet again, he's starting to think that a lot of Bleach characters have that same kind of facial, like it's very stern. It's a very serious manga, I would say. But yeah, it's crazy. I haven't really talked about it, but stuff like this, like world's most popular manga. It's like maybe at the time, and then it also says like as seen on Adult Swim. Like, as seen on Adult Swim, like, what the heck? That's very crazy to me, that they're just actively advertised for that. Like, when you think about it, that was like the big time Tanami area, right? It's kind of nice. I was able to take a day and like read this by a lake, so it's kind of nice to be able to just do that. Kind of add to the atmosphere. So I didn't see this coming. Him actually like. After their rivals with Ichigo, like, he actually came in and started doing stuff, and like Renju, and yeah, I should really look that guy's name up. But yeah, this was a really crazy thing when we saw Ichigo go to the bathroom, because I thought, really? Is he really going to draw that? And then, of course, it's like Kon, and then I was like, well, that's better. At least that makes more sense. This drawing. But then Ichigo didn't even notice that there was a note attached to it. Kind of cool because he mentions he says, where does he say that? Well, he actually starts using the hints, and like, I don't know, he actually figures it out, which is like, I don't know, like, it's kind of smart, like a shonen lead usually doesn't come up with things, but he is in school. Considering the other manga we've looked at, like, Luffy's a pirate, how much does, is he gonna get? So yeah, Colin feels really bad about the whole thing. He feels like he's responsible. I hope that he goes with this mission. I don't remember if he did, but I guess he wouldn't, because you have to keep Ichigo's body or something, but it's too bad. Renju completely defeats Rukia, which is too bad. Rukia needs to be in like a better body. like a Soul Reaper body. Yeah, so he's got this sword, and he actually looks pretty killer. I say this sword because he gets it broken, and I was like, what? Like, is he gonna just get it refixed? It's like Zabuza's blade. I don't know what's going on there. So yeah, like I said, like, he actually does some damage against these guys. Considering he's never fought a Soul Reaper, he's only fought Hollows. But then he was starting to get messed up. You know, I couldn't tell if it was what was going on. You know, but this guy's very cocky. He's like, oh yeah, blah blah blah, and like midway through he gets cut, like typical Shonen style, like, you know, you're actually no typical villain style, going on and on and on, and then you get cut. Like, dude, like, come on. But he was able to turn it into like some crazy like chainsaw, like, I don't know, like bone thing, and he actually cuts Ichigo pretty badly. Like, it's not good. And then they say they'll die here. It's kind of weird because they say capture Rukia or kill her. You'd think that they would have just killed her. Like, plot-wise, that was kind of a weird thing. But she ends up stopping Renju. Or wait, Renji, I think it's Renji. But yeah, anyways, yeah, this was actually a pretty good fight. Like, this is like where I'm starting to understand where like Bleach fights are going. Because before this, we only had hollow fights, and that's just like eliminate them basically. But this is actually pretty good. You know, he actually cuts him and like messes him up. So the thing is, if Ichigo gets stronger, like in the when I actually read up to the rematch, it's gonna be like ridiculous. He gets his Tempatu cut in half or like broken or whatever, and then he gets completely defeated. It's crazy because he didn't even move. Like, wow, it's, you know, I hope they don't just give him a random power up. That'd be really lame, to be honest. And then he's just been broken this whole time, and he like takes Rukia back, and it's like, and then she randomly just changes her attitude. Like, know your place, boy. Just acts so much like the Nico Robin thing. They're very similar characters. I like them pretty much almost the same. Like, if I were to someday read all the way up to the end of the series, I would love to just draw them together in like in the little like shop, you know, like one of those water areas, just have them talking, because they're just, Nico Robin and Ruki are so similar. But yeah, this is like, there's some really well drawn things here. Yeah, he like wakes up to this guy like in his bed, like that's a little bit much, but he's really hurt by it, and I guess he wasn't hurt so much that like he was able to like somewhat heal. It's kind of cool how he trains, his rival trains on his own, instead of like, you know, I don't know, doing stuff like just randomly, you know what I mean? Like, he trains on his own, like he doesn't actually need power-ups, at least. Not like one of those series where everyone just gets power-ups. So it's pretty cool because eventually they go back to school, then we have more antics with that. You know, and he's like all excited about summer starting, and it's funny, I was just reading this when summer started, and then it's like, no, hope and no, like, we're gonna have to go to the Soul Society. His scars, I don't know if he's probably gonna have them, but they actually would make him look a lot more killer. Yeah, so, yeah, that was funny too, how he said, like, you know, like, don't even bother thanking me. Like, did you actually say that? Like, not really sure why he had that reaction. It's a manly thing, I guess. But yeah, because he got his like Soul Reaper connection cut, like, he has to like train with this little girl that actually knows how to fight him like pretty well. And so I guess the first part of his thing was to be able to like withstand the punch. And then once he got to that point, like, I actually like seeing training. We don't really get to see it in One Piece, so I've missed it quite a bit. I could kind of see why you wouldn't want to put training in, but at the same time, it is pretty cool. But yeah, even like these little drawn panel things are pretty cool because they, like, you know, provide a little bit of something extra. And then this guy trains by a waterfall, very peaceful, very cool. And then Orihime wants to join him, and Chad. I like how like all these complicated names and you have just Chad. But yeah, all of a sudden, like, he gets tossed into this like hole thing, and his chain is becoming hollow, so he's got to worry about that, and he's got to get out of the hole. And so then we have like the rest of it is just like a section about Khan, so it's a pretty good volume. Another good volume. Like I said, pretty interesting, I think. And then we have volume A, and I always read it the other way. This is his Impatu, I guess. His actual blade has like a name and stuff. If it rusts, it can never be trusted. If its owner fails to control it, it will cut him. Yes, pride is like a blade. Makes sense. It's very Zoro-like, to be honest. Like, this is, to me, this is like if Zoro had his own series, like, in a lot of ways. But yeah, he gets thrown in this hole. He has to come back out of this hole. And she wants to protect Ichigo, so that's kind of like, you know, that's where all these, like, fairies come from. So it's kind of weird, like, really? You're gonna protect, Ichigo? Like, okay. And he, like, actually scales himself. He tries to scale himself out of there. And then he starts turning into a hollow, and it's crazy because, once he gets there, his Impatsu starts talking to him, and, like, that's not even the crazy part. Like, he actually uses a rival's knowledge, which is cool, like the red ribbon thing, like, that signifies your Soul Reaper. And then, like, his mask starts changing. I'm like, wait, is he actually changing? Like, I could not tell what was going on. Like, they even thought he's a hollow. And then there's, like, this crazy, like, hollow-looking thing. Then he comes out of it, and he just, like, what a beastly panel, man. Like, oh my gosh, like, that'd be such a cool panel to show. And, like, yeah, he was able to come back out, and, like, he was, like, part Soul Reaper. So it's pretty cool. Especially shots like this. Like, this is Kubo when he was actually doing a really well job. So then he actually starts to, we actually see the Soul Society a little bit, which is, like, crazy. It looks like feudal Japan. Very courtyardy, a little bit boring. But it is new, and it's pretty interesting. There's this guy, what is his name? Kenpachi? I think it is Kenpachi. But yeah, this guy starts coming into it, and he actually puts some damage in. And then this guy, he has this sword that's like basically his Impatu too, and he actually does quite a lot of damage. And then see, there's like Ben. Oh yeah, that's the name that he has for this sword. It's Benihami, Benhimi. I don't know how to say that. But yeah, he starts like actually cutting like Ichigo's blade. It's like already small enough, and then out of nowhere, like Ichigo, like yeah, it actually like cut all the way off, and then Ichigo, he gets a new blade, and it looks a lot better. It kind of looks like a knife you'd use for fishing, like you get a blade for fishing, and then he actually cuts. And well, this dude has like a force field thing, like it's kind of crazy. So yeah, and then he actually learned how to do a better job of like being able to shoot the arrows, so that's cool. Then we get more exposition about Summer before he goes out there, and it was a weird conversation. Like his dad, it's like it just seemed like he knew that he was gonna leave. And then it's really funny how there's like this blood starts coming up, and then like, you know, it's like writing in it. It's like, P.S. Those who saw this and thought it was some writing a murder victim's blood horror movie cliches. You have no sense of humor. And then he's like, oh, shut up. Like, that legit got me, like, the crack up. But yeah, see, his dad just, I don't know, it seems like his dad has a lineage, like, he knows that he's a Soul Reaper at least, or something, because it seemed pretty weird. So then they started building this thing, and I guess this cat was there, or he made Chad's teacher, so they kind of got boned, because teacher's a lot weaker. But they were able to go in the Soul Society, and that's as far as I've gotten. But yeah, it looks pretty interesting. I can't wait to read more of it. I'm not gonna say it's on par with Hunter x Hunter and One Piece and stuff, but it is very, very good still. Right now, I mean, everyone says so after the Soul Society is like done, it's like don't even bother watching it or reading it again. Like, but you know what? I'm gonna try. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna see on my own, like a crazy person, read all the way through. And even though the ending, I already know the ending's bad, so like, you know, I'm already prepared for that. But I'll see just how bad the series is and stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of try to do more of these Bleach reviews when they come up, if I can. But since I'm gonna be doing summer school, it's gonna be kind of hard and stuff. So yeah, just stick around and wait for those whenever they come out. No, see you till next time. Bye.